Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Magic with Zuby. My name is Zuby, and if you're brand new to this show, the show is all about a little well-known card game called Magic the Gathering. On today's show, we have another special guest. We have none other than Justin, aka ThyrixSyx. I know it's ThyrixSyx. I think that's how you say it. I'm terrible at pronouncing names, and I'm so sorry, Justin, if you're listening to this. But we had him on, and we talked about Magic, we talked about arena cosmetics, content creation. We also talked a lot about psychology as well, too, which I really enjoyed that talk on it. And really kind of, it's really interesting learning like what people are going for school and what they're going to do for jobs and work and just how that all sort of works out. And I hope you all enjoy that little talk too, because a lot of these conversations, we talk a lot about Magic, but I also like diving deeper into people and finding out who they really are and kind of what makes them tick. And I'll be honest, I wish we had more time to talk. I feel like we were on for almost 2 hours, and I feel like that wasn't enough. I felt like I could have gone for at least another hour or two, but he had to go. He did have a cutoff time, and I kind of want to bring him back to talk more about. God, just there's so much more I want to talk to him about that I feel like we didn't scratch the surface on. More Magic stuff, more about him, and all that stuff. So hope you all really enjoyed it. Before we get in there, let me get some announcements out of the way. This show can be found on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and Spotify. And I also just submitted the podcast for the Amazon Prime thing. Amazon Prime is doing some podcast submission, and I submitted the podcast on there. So hopefully it gets there. So if you want to listen on Amazon Prime on Alexa, you can. So that'll be cool. And what else? Oh, if you want to reach out to me, you can find me on Twitter at Magic with Zuby, on Instagram at Magic_with_Zuby, and you can email me with any questions you may have at mtgzuby@gmail.com. Feels like I haven't done an episode in forever. I did an episode last week where I did do an episode last week. Whew. It's weird. The days now are going by so fast, yet feels so long ago. Like the previous day. I don't even know. Time's all messed up right now for me. So I've got two little commercials, and then we will get on with the interview. And please welcome Justin to the show.
Well, hey there, Zoe. Why the long face there, chum?
I just want to order some magic cards, but the shipping was too expensive.
Too expensive? Well, did you know if you go to legitmtg.com, you can order any magic cards, and anything over $2 or more has free shipping.
Wow, free shipping's at legitmtg.com. That's amazing.
You heard that right, Zoe. Free shipping at legitmtg.com with any order over $2 or more. Be sure to visit today and get the best deal on Magic singles and Magic sealed product available.
Wow, that's amazing!
And that is how you beat the latest standard meta with Abzan.
Ugh, it feels like there's no Magic content out there for someone like me. Someone who doesn't want to be competitive. Someone who is...
Who is... a normie?
Yeah, exactly! A normie!
Well, have I got the show for you, the all-new Magic for Normies show.
Hi, I'm Pixie.
And I'm Zuby.
Together, we host the all-new
Magic for Normies.
It is the Magic the Gathering show for all your normie needs. We don't care what deck got into the top 8 or what deck is winning. We care about having fun playing Magic.
That's right, Pixie. You can watch us on Pixie's Twitch channel at twitch.tv/PixieKittenPlays and catch the VOD on our YouTube channel, Pixie Kitten Plays. If audio is your thing, you can find episodes on the Magic with Zuby RSS feed.
Magic for Normies.
All right, Zuby here, and I have with me Justin, aka ThyrixSyx, a Magic the Gathering content creator and streamer. How's it going tonight?
It's going quite well. Finished up some classes earlier today, did some work for that, and then, of course, recorded 2 videos.
Ooh, nice. What'd you record?
Recorded a brawl video that I usually use. I use my viewers in them. I don't usually battle my viewers because I get better variety and more fun decks with them. And then I recorded a video for my second channel, which is about what wizards could be doing better in terms of cosmetics.
cosmetics regarding Arena.
Yes.
What else do you think they could be doing better?
I think pretty much every aspect of cosmetics is what they could be doing better. The card backs are fine. However, I do think it would be better if, just generally speaking, there were more of them. For some, obviously, a lot of them do have extra like border treatments and things like that.
Yeah.
But some of them are just like card art on the card back. So like for some, like for the main art of sets, it's like, you know, just chop it in there. And then their implementation of avatars is horribly poor. When we like the fact that we don't have the Theros gods as avatars makes no sense.
Yeah. You make a good point with that. I didn't even think of that because I feel like when you saying that, I feel like there should be more avatars when you think about it. Like if they want to make more, you know, stupid microtransactions, each set should come out with like five avatars. Because they did something like that when Guilds of Ravnica came out. They had the avatars for the 10 guilds and or was it War of the Spark? It was one of the Ravnica sets.
It was the it was for each of the normal Ravnica sets, and they did, but they also didn't. And what I mean by that is, for example, we have Vraska, but we don't have Izoni. We have Vannifar, but we don't have
Zagana or something, or
yeah, Zagana. Like we have like half of what we could otherwise have, and when the avatars are just cropped card art, right? Because that's all they are. Is essentially just like it's the character taken out of the background of the art.
Yeah,
it makes so little sense that they're not including more of these, because it's a way for them to just it's just gem deposit, right? They don't even have to offer gold things for this, but they can have bundles. Like they could literally just have the new Theros bundle, right? That includes all 5 of the Planeswalkers plus Athreos and Clothis. And then you could even have, like during that system of Theros being on Arena, you can then just like take the old art of the gods, like the original 15 whatever gods from the OG Theros block, bring them here and say, all right, we have the main 5, and then you could even split it up, the allied 5 other gods and the enemy 5 other gods. You could have these as a bunch of bundles. It just doesn't make sense that they're choosing to focus on getting their money through events and through card pack sales. Like they could lower the price of the packs and of events and everything and still be relatively they're not relative. They would make more money if they focus on cosmetics, because that's what every other online CCG does. Like if you look at something like Runeterra, there are a ton of cosmetics in that game, and they keep coming out with cosmetics every once in a while. And you know, there's some Riot coins or whatever they're called. I have no idea. But you know, just every set, if Wizards is bringing out a bunch of cosmetics options every set, and they make them worthwhile, people are going to buy them. And if they make it like easier for people to use multiple, then people have more reason to. So right now you have to set a main avatar, whereas in some other games you can just have avatars as avatars for each deck. And if you can set a card back like that, like why not? Like I prefer just to use the Eternal Zombie. That's just my favorite avatar. But if I were able to, in the deck options, just set, you know, Vannifar or whoever, then I would be more inclined to use all of the avatars I've collected, which I've collected all of them because I like them.
Yeah.
But I would be more inclined to use those, because instead of, you know, just having that while I'm building the deck, I have to remember, oh, I'm about to record a video with this Angel deck. I need to make sure I change to Sarah or
Aurelia.
There we go. And it's you know, it's not a ton of clicks or anything, but when you have so many, especially as we see the game go on,
and more characters are getting popular and people are starting to like their favorite characters. Yeah, who wouldn't want avatars like that? That makes a lot of sense. That's because if I had to take a guess at what I spend my money the most on, in terms of what I spend on gems, it'd be the Mastery Pass, and then usually about 50 packs for when a set first comes out, and that's about it. You know, there are times where they have the land bundles or something like that. It's like, I want those, obviously, so I'll buy some gems for it. But other than that, I think the only other time I even bought like avatars or card backs was the Nicol Bolas one, and whatever else. But yeah, I'd definitely be down for buying more avatars and stuff like that, because you're right. I don't play a lot of events on Arena. I don't know how typical that is for a lot of casual players and all that. I'd have to assume most players probably just play the free ladder or the free play queue and all that, and really only the hardcore people play the, more of the events and all that. So that makes a lot of sense. It's good.
And I would be inclined to agree with that assessment, that I'm relatively certain that most people don't play the events, and it's not necessarily. And I'm talking about like the events that are always on, like the constructed events and all that. And I think that some of the reason for that is like often the entries are high enough that the casual player who's not really putting a ton of money into the game, except for every once in a while, they're not going to want to save their gold, save their gems or whatever in order to get into an event where if they just lose, they like get nothing.
They wasted their money. Yeah.
Exactly. But if Wizards is making money hand over fist in other areas, in cosmetic areas, then it allows for them to improve the play experience for everyone, right? Especially considering, as whales, like I spend a ton of money on Arena, but that's because it's my job. It's, for what it's worth, it's like a part-time job, but still.
Yeah.
Justified in my mind, it's fine. I'm a whale, but I don't want to buy like a bunch of. I don't want to spend my money on cards. I want to earn my cards, and I want to play with my decks. I want to make my decks look awesome, and that's where Wizards can throw the harpoon at me, as it were. And what it means is that if I'm over here spending a ton of money on cosmetics, if other people like me are spending a ton of money on cosmetics, then your casual player who is just playing every other day when they can for an hour or something like that, they can spend their $20 a month in order to buy the couple of cosmetics options that they want, and then they can spend the rest of that money on getting the cards they want at a slightly cheaper price, because Wizards doesn't have to worry about that player, right? That player essentially is playing for free on the dime of the people who are paying a ton of money for the awesome cosmetics, right?
Do you feel that? Oh, sorry. Go on.
What I would want as a player is I want to play with a ton of people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine essentially subsidizing that by spending a ton of money on cosmetics because I have the ability to, right? And I would want to be able to go into like a historic brawl queue, or a historic brawl event even, whenever I want, and snap like that, people are there. And I think
show your flashy decks and all that.
Yeah,
and
exactly. I think a way
just like we do on paper,
Yeah, is having the entry fees and the reward structure for the events be more generous, especially for the front load, like have them front loaded a little bit more, and then have the cards cost less and have a way to turn wild cards into other things, like into other tiers of wild cards, even if it's not equitable. Like just have like it costs 4 commons to make an uncommon, it costs 3 uncommons to make a rare, it costs 2 rares to make a mythic, and then like on the way down it's not as good, right? But that's
I'd
fine.
love that. Yeah,
allow people to do that, especially if a newer player, let's say that they're not interested in any of the mythics, and instead they want to make like 2 rares or 4 uncommons or whatever the conversion rate for mythics to that level is, right? It would be better for them, and Wizards isn't like losing out on a ton of money if that's not where they're putting their gains there. Like Legends of Runeterra, for example, is I have spent no money on cards, I think.
Mm-hmm.
For what it's worth, they also have like a really cool like level up system that's kind of similar to the Mastery Pass, but in my opinion they do it better. But they just have a ton of cosmetic options, and I've spent a decent amount of money on just the cosmetic options because they're varied, and I can, for the most part, choose them by deck. But like I have like a full set of cards on Runeterra. A new set just came out. I have enough gems or crafting materials to make probably the entire set. And that's something that Runeterra devs have clearly stated, and that's another thing that I think Runeterra does better than Magic, is that the devs are incredibly open and clear with the community, and Wizards needs more of that.
For sure.
But like they say essentially Riot, the devs of Legends of Runeterra, for those who may not know, they have said that their goal is by the end of like a set cycle, they're hoping that everyone has all of the cards that they want, if not all of the cards from that set, because they know and they say that the way they make their money is with the cosmetics.
No, and that makes a lot of sense. Do you feel that Wizards is trying to treat this, especially a lot of the events, the payments of it all, they're trying to treat it too much like Magic Online? In terms of
not only are they trying to make it too much like Magic Online, I think they're also trying to make it too much like paper Magic. I think the way that things are priced in terms of events and stuff, and just cards in general, it feels like it's not a ton of money or anything, but it does feel like they're trying to say like this is a true Magic experience when it like technically that's one of the ways they advertise the arena. It's like, oh, it's real Magic but online and it looks nice, but it's not, right? The card packs are not 15 card packs.
No.
The experience is not the same. I cannot trade my my Spark Double for your command the Dreadhorde or anything like that.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't sell my cards in order to get new cards, right? There's not even a transfer of wild cards. So I feel like they're treating the economy of what they're getting as online or tabletop or paper, whatever they call it. But what they're giving isn't like equitable. Okay. So I feel like they need to really modify the way they look at Arena as like this is entirely distinct from both paper and Magic Online.
Do you see them even doing that? Like realistically, do you see them doing that? Because it's all nice that, you know, we have all these wishes and wants, but we know their track record with previous programs. I mean, we all remember Magic Duels where they all just suddenly stopped supporting it.
I mean, I hated Duels because I couldn't play real Magic, right?
Well, yeah,
You can have 4 commons, 3 uncommons, like 1 rare, or 2 rares,
and 1 mythic.
Like,
yeah,
I hated that. I like that's not how I want to play in my games.
But they made no mention that they were gonna just all of a sudden stop supporting it, and it was just one day they were like, oh hey, we're done with this now. After how many people spent money on it, and you know, because that's always been a fear of mine with Arena, that one day they're just gonna be like, oh nope, we're done. You know. So
for what it's worth, I don't think they're ever going to abandon Arena. I do think that Arena is one of, if not the best ways to play Magic remotely. I still play webcam games. I hate Magic Online because of the interface. It just has a barrier of entry. I'm sure if I spent the like week or so for me to actually like get used to it and get used to, for what it's worth, there's a little bit extra because
it's so slow. It's so slow.
It's just not a nice thing to look at or anything like that.
Yeah, I know.
So I think Wizards at least recognizes that Arena is fantastic in terms of allowing people to play remotely.
Oh yeah.
The issue is when you look at what Magic is as a game, and then you look at how it's been implemented in online situations, it is always never nearly as good as the game itself is. Right? Magic, in my opinion, is like the best card game ever made. One of the best games ever made. Obviously, it has a bunch of issues, lands and stuff, whatever. And, you know, obviously there have issues with individual cards or even individual sets being too or not enough, or not powerful enough. But generally speaking, I think the core of what is Magic, I think, is one of the best games. But when you look at the other companies that are making online card games, invariably, they just look better. They look at least at the level of the card game that is like underlying it. So I mean, you look at Hearthstone. I stopped playing Hearthstone a long time ago.
Yeah, so did I.
I do know a decent number of Magic creators still play it from time to time, but if nothing else, it looks amazing, and it at least matches like the clients at least, matches the quality of the game. And I won't talk too much about the game. I left it for a reason, obviously. But at the very least, it has game pieces. No, and then you look at Legends of Runeterra, which is my new hotness, and
Is that worth trying out?
Legends of Runeterra is it's absolutely fantastic.
I've heard from many people, even one of my coworkers who's not into card games at all, like would never touch Magic, picked up Legends of Runeterra and has been begging me to try it. Do you think it's worth trying out?
It has limitations that I don't love. For example, there's a set amount of cards that you can have on board at once. I'm never really a fan of those, just because I'm used to Magic, where you can have as many card pieces as you can. But other than that, and a couple of weird deck building restrictions, the reason I say Runeterra is absolutely worth getting into is because it very much is a free-to-play friendly game.
Okay, cool.
You can just play the game. And another thing that Magic is missing, and I didn't talk about this in my upcoming cosmetics video, because it's not cosmetics, is that there's a ton of ways to just like play the game by yourself. Like they have currently trial type things where they like teach you the ropes of certain card effects.
Yeah.
I really do like the method of teaching new players. But then you can just like play against AI decks, but the AI isn't like awful. Like Sparky's just a punching bag. Like Sparky's not playing with real decks. You know, Sparky is playing with the new player decks, I think. And for what it's worth, it makes sense if you have a new player who only has access to garbage cards because you refuse to give them a good collection, right? If that's what your new players are getting, they have to have that. But what that means is that your enfranchised players have no reason to actually play against the AI.
Yeah.
Right? On Runeterra, I can reasonably test decks against the AI. Because although the AI obviously isn't like as good as another player, I'm playing against competent decks that are put together with the goal of winning in mind. Right? These are decks that aren't just, singletons that are commons, and I think technically theirs is like common, rare, and then champion. But they're not just like the worst cards. These are like played decks, and they're coherent strategy. So there's one that is an aggressive deck that is a few cards away from being like a deck that other like humans play.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a bunch of variety in these decks, and they keep updating them with each new expansion. So we literally today just got a new expansion.
Nice.
And they are adding in a couple new AI decks, and it's fun to play against those because they try to win. Sparky, you could do nothing for so long and still just win against it. But it's not a good way to test decks. Whereas on Runeterra, you can, and you can test against a variety of decks because it's not just 5 beginner decks. It's a bunch of actual reasonable decks.
Does Runeterra have any single-player options like Hearthstone does with the adventures and all that? Because that is one thing I really like about Hearthstone that they did. Playing the single-player adventures, and you got to build a deck to try to counter the AI, something like that.
It doesn't, but I would say it doesn't yet. It definitely seems like something that Runeterra will do, and it's something that I think Magic should do.
That was one of my favorite things with Magic Duels, playing the single-player campaign where... Right? Yeah, little story, like you'd play a little story of the set, like going through Amonkhet and Hour Devastation. That was fun. I mean, yeah, it was easy to beat, but there were like when you had to go up against Nicol Bolas, that could be tough, depending on your draws.
Like they could do that in Magic because right now we have this complication of how the heck are we telling the story? Like like there was a time where like everyone cared about the story, and like Mark Rosewater was saying, like we have more people engaged in the story than ever, and then it just crashed. And you can do on Arena, like we're going to Zendikar. You could have a story of Zendikar told through like AI battles or challenges or whatever, and you can either provide players with specific decks or let players make decks. But you could even constrict it to it has to just be from this block or just the block, and
that'd be fun as hell.
Exactly.
People would love that.
Yeah, it would let people stay engaged with the story. For what it's worth, if you wanted to, you could charge an entry fee or something. But once again, that wouldn't be as bad if 1, they had rewards, which they should, and 2, the rest of the economy of actually getting the cards was lower, then people wouldn't care as much that you have some other like entry event, things like that. All right, but for Runeterra, it's something that they don't have yet. But
do you see them getting that?
I assume they will, especially considering like the world of Runeterra is vast and it has a bunch of stories, just like Magic.
Yeah.
But
And that's the that's the League of Legends one, right?
yeah,
Okay.
I've literally
Okay.
never played League of Legends. I've never
Okay.
touched that game. I've
I
never
used to
touched
play
any
it
of the lore.
so much long time ago. God, it was
I saw Runeterra like on just YouTube or something. I saw trailers of it and I was like, yo, this world seems really cool. And so like I got into it. I love looking at on Runeterra, every single card, you can zoom in on the art. So you have the full art, the entire screen of the game is that art.
ooh, nice.
And it has a little blurb. It could be a quote from the character. It could be a quote talking about the character. It could just be a little like story blurb of the place this person comes from. And that's for every single card. And obviously Magic has flavor text.
Yeah.
But you can't just like you can't take away the card and just show the immaculate art, because that's another thing I love about Magic is that it has fantastic art. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And you could theoretically just you don't even have to add like the blurbs or whatever, but the ability to just look at and admire the art as it is would be great. Runeterra does have some special events, so they have like the draft type experience, which I don't play in Magic very often anyway, so I have a bunch of tokens for that on Runeterra that I just haven't used. And then there are labs and gauntlets. So gauntlets are you bring your own deck, but they kind of change the rules up a little. So there's singleton gauntlets, and then the labs are just like really weird things. They're very similar to like when we have Momir Vig or whatever, similar to like that. Where they give you a deck, or you get to choose from several decks, and then you play based on these wacky rules. But yeah, it's definitely worth, if nothing else, checking out.
No, I'll give it a shot. I mean, check it out. But one thing I want to ask you, so, you make a lot of good points here, especially about Magic and comparing it to like Runeterra, Hearthstone, and whatever other card games are out there. Gwent. I mean, are people still playing Gwent? I don't know.
Technically, yes. I mean, I've played a ton of card games in my life. Yeah. If you know what these are, cool. Duelist died, and I'm so sad about it. It died for Godfall, and I swear if Godfall is not a good game, I'm going to be like legitimately upset. I absolutely love Duelist. It was like a pixel art kind of thing. It was pretty cool.
Okay.
Spell something.
I have no idea.
Spell Shard or something. I can't remember the name of this. And Spellweaver, that's what it is.
Okay.
Spellweaver, I've played OG Gwent, and then I left because they changed, like they went to 2 fields, and like they changed how weather works, and that was sad because that was my main deck. Like they changed that, but I do know a lot of people play it. I still play the Elder Scrolls Legends.
I forgot all about that.
Like, dying.
Yeah.
But I'm still playing. I like the Elder Scrolls games. I played a little bit of Faria. I've played Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. Like I've played a ton of card games. And
I love the Pokemon Online client. That's freaking great.
There's another one that I haven't played in a couple.
Does Dragon Ball Super have an online client yet? Because I played that.
I have no idea.
Because I played that card game. I played that card game a few times, and it's the best way. It's kind of similar to Pokemon, but Dragon Ball characters. It was pretty fun, but no. So my question was more leaning towards. So, do you think WotC's excuse for not having a lot of this stuff is because of Paper Magic and how they still don't want to like take away from Paper Magic sales? And I mean, the only thing you can even really redeem with Paper Magic onto Arena are Planeswalker decks, some pre-release kits. Or do you think they're trying to do that fine line of not making Magic Arena too great? Like they could make it better, obviously, especially with economy and everything else that you mentioned, but they're kind of not wanting to take away from the paper. Do you feel like they're trying to do that, or what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not sure, but what I had I had this like epiphany the other week when I went to my local game store with a mask. Don't worry. Is that like I spend like all my time on the internet, so to me like the Magic scene really is like arena focused, but there were people there who didn't know who Merchant was, who Noxious was, right? Like the biggest names in Magic Arena. And and they just like didn't know, or they like really didn't care all that much about Arena at all, right? So I was kind of baffled by that. I was like, whoa, these people don't know like the biggest names on the internet front. So like, even if Wizards is worried about that, I don't think it's a concern that they should have, right? The people who are loving physical Magic are probably going to continue loving physical Magic, and if they link the two more, it would be better for them. The fact that you are correct in that there's like no way to really get equitable shares in terms of stuff that you have physically and then stuff you have digitally makes no sense to me. And honestly, for that, I think it's more of a we don't want to piss off the Magic Online people. Because if they started doing like pack codes for Arena, even if it's not like full on, you get the contents of this pack, especially since that might be difficult to implement. I don't know if it would be packs or allocated, whatever. But even if it's just like you bought this pack, you get 50 gems on Arena, right? Or let's say like 250 gold. Like so for every in real life pack that you get essentially 1/4 or a third or whatever of a pack online by getting some gold.
Yeah.
That would be really nice, and it would mean that people who are buying packs can have something on Arena, even if it's not the exact same. And it's so that like people on Arena aren't going to be like, well, I have Arena, I'm never going to buy packs again.
Like, and it could give LGS a way to give away Arena codes too. You know, for people doing F&M whenever that starts back up again, and just little events like that.
Yeah, my hope is that that's not the reason. My hope, honestly, is that it is
corporate greed,
high stupidity. Yeah, essentially. My hope is that some people are just, kind of overbearing the Wizards team and the Arena team specifically, and just like, yeah, don't worry about making any of this look good because enough people are already like spending the money, like we're getting our investment back, so we don't need to improve anything. We don't have real competition. The people who like Magic are playing Magic, and that's my fear.
So pretty much treat it like Magic Online. Like, don't bother making it better, don't bother improving it, which, yeah, I could definitely see that.
But that's my hope and my fear. It's my hope because it means that it's probably the easiest thing to change if... I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, it's not even that, like, if Wizards grows some gonads and just stands up and says, hey, we know what our player base wants. This is not going to hurt your bottom line. Maybe it will for the right now because we're going to increase costs, but we'll see that we're going to reap the same benefits we have now and then some if we actually look better than the competition. Because right now, Arena looks good for a Magic client, but it does not look better than the competition. And because I think that Magic the game is better than all of the other card games, the client should be better than all of the other clients, right? And it just doesn't right now. I think that Wizards just is like, we don't need to. And the fact that we're not in beta anymore, and there are still key features just missing, is phenomenal.
Like what key features?
There's no mobile.
Oh yeah, well they said that's coming later this year apparently, and they've got 4 months left, or less than 4 months. Yeah.
Legends of Runeterra has not been around as long, and it has not only a functional mobile client, a fantastic mobile client that I use on my phone. It has chat features that were like there not on launch, but it was there quickly.
We just got chat this year, and it's been 2 years.
It's also like not great in my opinion. I don't like how it looks. Essentially, a lot of the UI, in my opinion, doesn't look like Magic. It feels very much generic.
It feels like college level UI. Like they took somebody out of college and said, "Here you go, design the UI." Because I was in the original closed beta when all you could play was Merfolk versus Pirates, and that was it. And the UI has definitely gotten better. It's evolved, but overall, it still kind of looks the same. It's not. I mean, yeah, there's been differences. There's been upgrades, but it's. Yeah, I thought it would be better. I don't want it to look like Hearthstone because that has its own sort of art style and all that. But I don't know, Hearthstone just flows better, you know, like the way you go from menu to menu and just the stuff just looks good, right?
Yeah,
Magic just feels, the presentation of it, the Magic Arena just feels very stale, you know.
Yeah.
It feels,
I feel like it doesn't have the soul of what Magic is. Like,
it already feels outdated.
Yeah, I bring this back to Magic art. Like, Magic art is so crisp and clean, and there's so much Magic iconography. There's so much inherent visual information in Magic as an IP that they're just not using in the creation of the UI. Like, like this. What I mean by this essentially is, like, it does not look like I would see this UI in any plane of Magic, right? Like, I'm not getting the sense of this is a multiverse where, like, there are aspects of all of these different planes here. You know, the way the buttons look are based on the Hedrons of Zendikar. The way the Playblade look is based on the Nyx or something like that, right?
Yeah, because going back to Hearthstone, it looks like you are in a tavern. Like, as soon as you launch,
a box for gameplay in a tavern. Yeah, like that's the type of thing I mean. And like, they can pull from Magic's iconic history and provide a bit more like life into the client and make it look a little better. Obviously, like, that would be very difficult. That's the one that I care like the least about.
Yeah.
Just because I think that undertaking would be very hard to make sure that, like, it feels like Magic, but also doesn't feel like an overwhelming mess.
Yeah, because that would take a lot of time and resources as well to even get any of that done.
Yeah, it's just it feels like Wizards has kind of decided that the core of the client and the core of the economy, they're not going to care about it. And I think that the client needs work. I mean, the way that the deck builder still operates, like, I thought we were getting a major deck builder overhaul, and it seems like we're not. It seems like we're stuck with what we have, and they're just going to keep giving, like, tiny improvements. I thought we were getting an entire overhaul.
Yeah, I mean, it's better filters we've gotten, but
they're not perfect filters.
Yeah,
like,
no.
I still can't do things I can do on, like, Scryfall. Obviously, it's different, but still, like, the filter system is not great. One of the things that I have the biggest issue with is if I am looking for multicolored cards, for example, if I just do green, it'll show me, like, all of the multicolored cards with green in it. But if I do, like, what is it? If I do green, black, red, it'll only show me the green, black, and red cards. It won't show me the green, black cards, the black, red cards, the green, red cards.
I guess I never paid attention to that.
Yeah, there are technically ways you can do that using search terms and stuff, which it's great that they finally showed that in client instead of being like, oh, by the way, here are some search terms you can use, and just hit that in a forum post that no one uses. I have no idea how many people actually use the Arena forum, but I assume it's not.
Probably not many.
But, like, it seems like that, and then the economy, they just are like, yeah, this is fine. Like, we're officially out of beta, even though it doesn't seem like what was the main transition from beta to not beta? Like, what was the release? Like, what changed? What made it a final product?
Was it? Did it officially come out of beta last year? Was it last?
I think so.
I can't remember now because there wasn't. You're right. There wasn't a big transition. Like, all of a sudden, hey, we're not in beta anymore.
But not only that, it's like, not only was there not like a big like hubbub about it, but there wasn't anything to go with it. It's like, this is what it looked like in beta, and wow, now it's like this in full release. We have all of these new features that have been polished from the beta that were finally.
I don't think there was any of that.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And then for the economy, it's just like, people are buying, so we're just not going to change it, even though
pretty much
they really should be focusing on cosmetics.
Yeah.
Not
I agree
just
with
for
that.
Like me, like, I want more, like, give me more cosmetics. Like, I would absolutely love to have like Sorin, for example, as an avatar.
Heck yeah.
Sorin has
a lot of people would
been in a set here. And the thing is, Sorin, an avatar for Sorin is in the game files. So is an avatar for Ashiok in the game files.
Oh, really?
The Ashiok one is from when we had that weird Ashiok versus Elspeth thing with the the pre-made decks that include.
Oh, yeah, like Black Lotus.
in it.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that.
That's from there. We got the Elspeth. Don't have Ashiok. I don't remember where the Sorin is from, but Sorin as an Apsar is in the game files.
Like, what are they waiting for?
I don't know.
Well, Zendikar, because is he going to show up back on Zend? Well, no, he's more Innistrad. Because Nahiri is shown back.
We know who's going to be on Zendikar. I think it's Nissa, Nahiri, and Jace. I think those are the 3 walkers on Zendikar.
What the heck is Jace doing back there? I mean, I know they already spoiled the Jace Planeswalker as of today, but it's like, why is Jace there? Well, actually, you're right. Who the hell knows? Because the whole story is a freaking mess. I mean,
they could put that in the game.
Like, do you remember what happened in Ikoria? Like, when it comes to the story? Because apparently, from what I've heard, they came out with the story, and then what happened in the actual cards was completely different. Because I haven't read the book yet, but I've heard. I don't even know what story's like the actual real one. Apparently, and then the Eldraine Eldraine had a story come out, and I heard that was pretty decent. Never read it.
Apparently Garrick is cured and he's looking after the Rowan twins. And apparently Battle Bond isn't canon, which I didn't know, but whatever.
What? Battle Bond was one of my favorite sets. I love that plane. That was great.
Apparently the Kenrith twins sparked in Eldraine. So I was super confused about that. I thought they'd already been sparked, but apparently Garrick is their sensei in Planeswalking.
So maybe Battle Bond's in the future, maybe? Or
I don't know what's going on with it, but yeah, it's weird about the whole story thing and the fact
and we didn't even get a Theros story. I was so mad about that because Theros has been one of my
story.
What like a 1-page paragraph of hey, this is like Elspeth escapes from the underworld. The end.
Elspeth escapes. Kothis is salty. Creates a planeswalker, which is fine. A lot of people were super upset about that. And then Heliod loses.
Oh.
And Erebos is happy about it.
Oh, see, you know way more than I did, and I'm just like, yeah, that I was so mad about that because that was the one plane I was looking forward to coming back to because I love Theros, because I love all that Greek mythology, and then we just got nothing.
We even have. There's also card backs in the game files. For what it's worth, they don't look as polished as some of the other ones. So like there's a Damnation one. And real quick, I have to get on my soapbox. Why do we get Wrath of God for the white-blue decks, but the black control decks don't get Damnation? They're the same card. The Damnation art, because we have the Wrath of God art from the Invocations. The Damnation art has Bolus on it. Amonkhet is about Bolus.
You're right, because every time I try to make like a black control deck or anything, it's what we have. We now have Languish. Ooh,
Languish is the best of them in my opinion.
Why can't they at least give us Crux of Fate? Destroy all dragons, destroy all non-dragons. Like I would take that. If they don't want to give us Damnation, give us a 5-mana blow up.
I mean, they gave us Hour of Devastation, which is decent, especially for a Bolus deck.
Yeah, but it's not black.
Well, right, but also like I've heard some people say, well, Wrath of God is a white card. But it's like not. Like, what white-green control deck are you seeing? What white... I mean, I guess white-black would be fine. But they already had Kaya's Wrath, which is essentially the same thing. But like, what white-red deck are you seeing that isn't, like, land destruction anyway? It's like... it's for the blue-white control decks.
Yeah, and then blue-white or Esper.
It's nothing. It's so just... It's annoying. But that's...
Oh, no. No. I'm right there with you, man, because it's... Because I love playing Grixis Control. Grixis Control is one of my favorite, kind of decks to build an arena. And, you're, like, board wipe. I mean, Hour Devastation is a great addition to it now. But other than that, before Languish even came out, it was...
Ritual Soot, garbage.
Oh, yeah, the Ritual Soot.
Extinction Event is okay. It misses things.
Yeah, Extinction Event is probably your best bet. Yeah.
I'm inclined to go with Languish because it tends to not leave things around in the match where it matters. But so it just makes it makes me a little sad because it seems like it's just like a board of people who are just like, hey, you don't need to change anything. And I'm really hoping that Wizards is like, we know what we're doing. Like we make you money, Hasbro. We are your gods. Like. they're like beholden to a company that is only doing great because of Magic. There are technically other things with My Little Pony, but still.
Yeah, I think it's My Little Pony, Monopoly, and Magic are like their biggest moneymakers. I think for Hasbro.
Yeah.
Oh, and Transformers. That's right. Transformers
it's
still
like
a big thing for them.
I probably they had a surge during the whole Michael Bay stuff, but
Oh yeah. That's right. I forgot about those movies.
but besides that, like it's Magic, and
Yeah.
it feels like these. I'm a terrible person. It feels like these are cowards who refuse to acknowledge that Wizards of the Coast knows what people want. I would be willing to bet that some of the disgusting power we've seen recently isn't just Wizards making blunders. I'm willing to bet.
Oh yeah.
People like higher ups have said you need to push these cards. They need to be stronger because people have to buy them. But what they don't realize is that's not what people want.
No, I mean,
that's a little conspiratorial, but
well, I just had an episode about that, talking about like all the recent standard bannings, and I've been playing standard since 2012, 2013. And like the past 3 years since 2017 has been like the absolute worst 3 years of standard. Yeah, have there been good decks? Have there been fun decks and all that stuff? But overall, we've never seen this many banned cards before. And the bannings are just getting out of control, and the power level is getting out of control, and it's I don't know, it could be their new playtest design, their new card design philosophy, whatever it may be. I don't know, because I'm not behind the scenes of Wizards, but there's something definitely going on, and I'm afraid this is going to be the new norm. Thank God I'm not playing paper standard anymore, because thank God I sold out like 2 years ago with standard, and I only play EDH, because fuck, man. Imagine playing paper standard now. Like if Arena wasn't around and we had paper standard now, minus the pandemic and all that, how many people would be more pissed off about all these bannings than they currently are? Everybody's like, oh yay, bannings. I'm like, you're playing on Arena. That's easy, right? Because, you just get wild cards back. That's it. You didn't waste money on the physical cards and now they're worthless,
Yeah, I stopped playing standard a long time ago. I think the last time I played was actually around Cons of Tarkir block. No, around OG Theros maybe.
Okay.
I think they were close, but sometime around there. And the reason essentially was like I was playing. I tend to play Abzan when I'm playing when I played in standard, and I looked at my cards and I realized like the only non-rares were like basic lands.
Yeah.
And I realized like I was going to have to sell this deck as soon as rotation happened. And the only reason I started playing standard again was because of Arena. And now that I have Amonkhet back, and that's what I'm going to say. Like now that I have Amonkhet back, because it was taken away from us, the transition from closed to open beta, I've essentially become wholly a historic content.
That's all I play on Arena now is just historic.
And historic does have problems.
Oh yeah,
it's just better than standard.
Yeah, and
the decks aren't going to rotate. The card pool is bigger, so you don't have to worry as much about individual cards. But yeah, it seems like such a conspiracy, but Wizards has made so many errors in the past 2 or 3 years that it has to be someone who isn't connected, because like nothing, like the people in Wizards haven't changed, right? Like there's nothing. There's no reason that the people who have been making fine decisions up until recently have all of a sudden decided to just destroy a bunch of things at once. Like, and it's not just the story. It's not just
and it's not just standard. It's other formats. I mean, shit. I mean, I feel like a lot of people have forgotten Companion, right? Like how busted Companion was. I mean, not counting standard, but just other format, Legacy, Vintage. Like how?
Wait. Are you saying me playing turn 1 Black Lotus, Luris, Black Lotus? Like you think that's too good? I don't understand.
Right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So many things went wrong, like in a single moment, that it's so hard for me to believe that this was someone internal at Magic Design, like the entire design team, that has this happen. Like it
well,
like.
let's say it is the design team, right? Let's say it is. It's my thinking of it. So let's say it is all the design team's fault, right? And this is just, tinfoil hat, like we're talking about. I think so. If it is Hasbro not getting involved and it is design team's fault for all this, I think it's because due to either poor management of just not keeping track of what's going on, and also pushed timelines as well too, because think of the amount of product that is coming out that they're all having to design for and test, and God knows what, because we're having more and more product more than ever in the past couple years. Every month it feels like there's something new, right? How many supplemental products do we have now? How much design and playtest and QA has to go in for Commander Collection? That's only 8 cards, right? But how much time and energy did that 8 card collection take away from other people designing for Standard, right? That all that adds up. All these secret layer drops, that adds up to man hours and time away from when they could be focusing on Standard or the newest expansion.
I completely agree, and I also think that they're starting to suffer from like the whole EA games or FIFA or whatever issues of having yearly releases. Call of Duty as well. Like when you have yearly releases of the same thing, like you're inevitably going to reach points where the product are just poorer. So when we have new commander decks every year, how long is it going to take? I mean, for what it's worth, they have already started kind of declining in quality, but
I thought this year was pretty good. I felt this year's way better than last year.
I don't even remember this year.
It was the Ikoria decks, the Mutate, the Cathrol.
Yeah, no, that was fine.
Last year's were a dud.
For what it's worth, I think the reason that it might be starting to get better is because they're tying it into sets. I think tying it into sets makes it a little bit better, because now they're not designing the new commander cards with this has to be good in Commander in mind, or a kind of a nebulous thing. They now get to say, okay, this is the set. We know what we're doing in the set. We can add a lot of these cards into these decks, and then how are we going to best play with those? I think that is actually the best thing to do. But they've lost out on things like Plane Chase and Arch Enemy, and I absolutely. I don't care as much about Arch Enemy, but I absolutely love Plane Chase. And
when was the last time we even got Plane Chase?
We've had 2 Plane Chase products. The last one was in 2012.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's ridiculous. And
didn't we get Plane Chase Anthology a couple years ago, or am I thinking of another anthology?
The anthologies are just collections of cards they already.
Yeah.
So it exposed more people to Plane Chase. But it's not new cards, and there have been new planes. There have been new planes, new designs for things, and it'd be great to see more of that, because once again, Magic has this fantastic, huge multiverse, and you can make some really interesting designs with the planes. There are a bunch of planes projects online, but they're not it's different from having the official cards in your hand.
Yeah, it's true, and I feel like we're returning to planes too often too. I mean, I feel like we just left Zendikar, and we're coming back to it. Ravnica, I'm so sick of Ravnica by now. And I know that's everybody's favorite plane. Theros, I mean, I did enjoy that one, but I want more new planes. Ikoria and Eldraine was great new planes. They felt refreshingly new. And I want to see more of that. I want to see new planes. What about that Viking plane they keep talking about? I don't even remember the name of it, but it's been mentioned before. I don't know, just new stuff. What do you think about that?
I'm generally okay with the pace that returns and stuff are making. For what it's worth, Oath of the Gatewatch actually came out in 2016. So that was 4 years ago.
4 years. That feels like yesterday.
I wonder. Let's see.
Is it raining outside? Yep, it is raining outside my window right now. Cool.
Yeah, so it was Shadows, and then...
Yeah, Shadows was 2016, yeah.
And then after that was, Kaladesh. So, for what it's worth, like it technically wasn't a ton of sets ago. Like it was a decent amount, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a bit interesting. I am generally fine with it, and that's because I do like a lot of the plans that we already have. Like I would love to go back to New Phyrexia because I love Phyrexians. I don't know if you can tell.
Well, I also thought we were going to go back there soon too because of what happened with Karn in Dominaria.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
because
I think they want to kind of space out their things to probably so that they don't have to like tie up ends as much. Like so many people in my community have asked me like, what do I think about Nicobolus? Like, is he like never going to be back in the story? And I told them like point blank, the only reason you don't kill characters is because you plan on bringing them back.
oh yeah,
Not only do I think Bolus will be back, I think they already know how they're going to bring Bolus back.
they're going to pull like a comic book thing where they'll bring him back because they need his help defeating some evil, and then
Yep,
he's
that's
gonna
exactly what I said.
he's gonna get his powers back and be like, ha ha ha, tricked you all. Like, oh
Maybe
no.
Great to subvert that and actually just have him merge with Ugin. Because they were like twin. Like I think that would be a nice wrap in their story. And then you can use this new character. Ugin Bolus, the eternal dragon or something like that. I don't know.
Nickel
But then
Ugin.
you have this new character who's kind of a melding between the two, who has all of the memories of both, and then you can have these internal conflicts that aren't truly like the consciousness of Bolus versus the consciousness of Ugin, but just like literal character conflicts of like, I am both of these beings. I have committed all of these atrocities, but I've also done all the good of like the Ugin or whatever. So I think it'd be interesting because it would really neatly wrap up the modified story of Bolus of like they were twins, they went their separate ways and became very different creatures. They fought all the time. They literally killed each other or trapped each other.
Yeah.
And then like the gang comes back and says like, yo, there's some crazy thing happening. We need Bolus's power, but he's also a terrible person.
We need his power to defeat Phyrexia or the Phyrexians.
Yeah, like, well, we can merge, and then like they merge, and it's cool, and then like you could have more stories with that character. Because I think Bolus is unequivocally my favorite character. I don't like some of the modifications they made to him. I thought they made him too much mustache twirling villain.
Yeah.
His motivations, in my opinion, especially since the Time Spiral books, was I want to maintain godhood. I will do whatever it takes. But once in the more recent years, they've kind of turned into I hate everyone. I want destruction, and that seems to kind of go against what I understood Bolus to be. But still, I really like the character, and I'm excited to see hopefully them take that route. And I'm almost certain that's what's going to happen. Is like we need Bolus's power because that is a huge trope.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. One thing that when I had a Mishi on last year, I was telling her, and I think I even told this to Gavin when I had him on the show, that they need to go do a D&D plane for Magic, where, you know how Magic has gone to D&D with the Ravnica book and the Theros book. D&D now, they need to go to a D&D plane, make it a Magic set. That would be amazing. And it doesn't have to be a standard set. They could do a supplemental set, like something like Battle Bond or Conspiracy or something like that. I would love that. Can you imagine having like a Tiamat Planeswalker card or something?
That's the thing, is that the biggest issue with that is the canon, right? You don't want to introduce all of the vast canon of D&D to Magic, and vice versa. You don't want to put all that vast canon of Magic into D&D, right? It would be really weird if we go to Eberron and then all of a sudden, technically speaking, Eberron, this plane with a lot of like interesting technomantic inventions and whatnot. Phyrexia would like to say hi. Things like that. And then of course you have all of the like actual gods in Eberron, or not in Eberron, but in all of the D&D canon, kind of coming here. So I think it would be difficult. I would prefer to see it in a large standard legal set, but I think in terms of making sure that people aren't upset by canon things, I think having a battle bond like set where you literally see like Jace interacting with Tiamat or Liliana
or Dritz or something,
a demon from the Nine Hells or whatever, or technically a devil, because that's another weird thing with that devils and demons are opposites in Magic and D&D. So it'd be interesting to see that type of thing. I agree. I think like you get so many people to just be like, bruh, excuse me, I can now play a commander deck with Baphomet? No,
Talk about
the dragon god who hates
Bahamut.
I don't know.
Bahamut.
Yeah, that guy. Like you could have stuff like that, and like people would be like stoked for that. I think that'd be a fantastic.
Oh my
idea.
gosh, yeah. It's I would love it. It's because I mean I don't know if you ever read the Ravnica or Theros books for D&D or anything. I feel like they are really well done. I feel they like I've ran one Ravnica campaign. I haven't really done anything with Theros yet, but I've used some ideas from Ravnica and some of the stuff from Theros, and it works great in campaigns for stuff like that.
Yeah, they're fantastic, and they give a lot of information for D&D.
Yeah,
for Magic, they give a lot of nice Magic lore.
Yeah, so that Theros book that just came out, that was my quote unquote story for Theros Beyond Death, because it's like, oh, this is the closest I'm going to get to some nice lore behind the scenes.
It talks about like how the gods feel about each other. Like, that's awesome information to know. And it talks about why they feel that way. Like, and Erebos like hates Phoenix because of what he represents. Like, he represents someone getting out of the grasp of the god of the dead. So like that's a lot of really interesting, cool insights. That it'd be interesting to see like the reverse of that, of like this is how Magic characters would, or how D&D characters would be portrayed in the context of Magic. So I do think that'd be really interesting.
It'd be awesome. So do you play a lot of D&D or anything?
I don't play a ton. I've ran a few campaigns. I've been a part of a few campaigns with Merchant and their crew. But I tend to not have a ton of time, unfortunately.
I know what you mean.
Love playing it, but I'd only really ever be able to play right now during breaks, because the PhD programs are work intensive. I barely get away with making content on it. So.
Oh man, I mean, it's school killing you right now in time.
No, it's the first few days. One of the classes looks like it's going to be difficult. The other one should be fine. Also, it's a math class, and I love math.
Oh, hey.
I like doing things with numbers. Once you start adding a bunch of annoying stuff in it, I don't like it. But I love the satisfaction of like doing like a huge equation.
Hey, you know that if that's what you're into, that's all right. I mean, it's so my day job. I'm a network engineer, so I deal with a lot of I'm in healthcare, so I deal with a lot of networks in hospitals, outpatient clinics, and all that. And I mean, I know what you mean. Like, I can geek out just being in a command line screen and just basically looking at the Matrix all day. And since I work at home, my wife will come by like, "How do you even read all that?" I'm like, "Oh, but this is what this means," and and I get so excited and geek out. So I know what you mean. I mean, it's what you enjoy. It's what you like. So, you know. I'm not very good at math. It's I graduated college, just passing whatever basic math I had to do. So it's hey, it's what you like, man. So you said you're going to school for what again? It was psychology? Experimental psychology? What does that mean exactly?
It's so my focus is on research.
Okay. Okay.
It's not the psychology of like, it's not clinical. So the two programs we have are clinical or experimental. I'm in the experimental side because don't tell anybody this. I don't care about helping. It's not that shit. I'm not bold. I'm not new bolus. I don't go out of my way to harm people. But I don't go out of my way to help people. My goal is essentially I like to learn. Very similar to bolus, I like to have a large amount of knowledge and to gather essentially all information in the world, so I become a god. No, I just really like to learn. So the reason I'm going into like experimental psychology is because I want to be able to essentially have the tools to answer any of my own personal questions. Like if I'm curious about how something works, the reason why certain people forget certain things and not others, I want to be able to have the training and the resources to be like, I'm going to set up an experiment and figure this out. So that's essentially mine.
So when you're doing experimental psychology, like what does that look like for having a job? Like what would you do exactly?
Right. So there are three main paths that I typically see. There's government work, there is industry work, and then there is university. So government work essentially is you get hired to do some sort of thing for the government. They'll contract you to, for example, I work on human autobiographical memory. So theoretically, I could be assigned to look at post-traumatic stress disorder in like Air Force veterans or something like that. Like it would be something relatively specific. They would give me some money and resources, and then I would essentially complete that contract by finding things out. And then if I have further research that I could do in that area, they would likely contract me out for more, and then I would keep doing that. And you'd essentially be doing what the government wants you to do, whatever sector you end up.
Okay.
For industry, it's similar, except now you're just working for a private business or whatever. So, for example, as I said, I work with memory. So Google, for example, could contract me in order to find out the ways that individuals remember passwords, right? Find out ways to optimize that for human memory for some nice UI improvement.
Interesting.
And then the last one is, and for what it's worth, these are like very general overviews.
Well, yeah, I figured that, but it's nice to see some examples though.
Then the last one is working for a university or working for some sort of educational institution. Typically, this is the one that you get the most freedom. So the other one's like you're essentially told, like we are hiring for this contract. You can try to
get it done. There. Yeah.
And that's what you do. But for working at an institution, at an educational institution, you have the most freedom of what you want to research. So I would then be able to say, I want to look at specifically nostalgia in geriatric populations, right? Something like that. And maybe how that modulates their healthcare treatment outcomes, right? Something like that. For what it's worth, that's very applied. The only reason for that is because you still like to get grants.
Yeah.
And the government likes when you have an applied outcome. But yeah, you could do something like that. And then the trade-off, the reason why you're going to do what you want is because you also teach, or you also do community things. You'll what's it called, service, I think, where you'll teach classes, but you'll also be on the board of I don't know, diversity or something like that, right? Like you're going to be doing extra things to help the university. So that's why that you get a little bit more. So those are the main things. I personally, as you might be able to guess, I would go for the university just because I would be able to do the research that I want to do because that's what I want. Like I want to answer my own questions. So.
Yeah, is that something hard to do to get onto a university like that?
I don't technically know.
Okay.
The culture in psychology, especially in research psychology, is changing because before it was very, very much like based almost purely on publications. It's like how many publications have you had, and what are the journals you've been publishing in? How often are those things cited? Are you publishing in the same place, or are you getting like a wide array of publishings? How many journals have you on like their list of reviewers, things like that? It was very numerical, but it seems that there are changes being made such that there are more factors being considered, and it's not just, hey, this person has a large, I'm trying not to use like a jargon, a large percentage of research that has been published and then used. That's called something specific, but I can get into that. And now they're looking more at like, is this person working with a variety of people? Are they good at community outreach? Are they, do they apply for grants even if they're not getting them? Like that's another thing that has been used in the past is just like the number of grants held. But now it's like, are they at least applying for grants? How well are they doing that? What variety of courses they can teach? Looking at a bit more things. So I suspect that by the time I enter the workforce, it'll be a little easier insofar as I'm a person who there are grad students with me who have been published already. I have not yet. But by the time I get out, I will hopefully have at least one or two things. but it won't be as bad for me compared to my peers who have, by the time we get out, 3 or 4 or 5. So I suspect that right now it's on the decline of difficulty, but it's still, there are still only so many spots for disciplines in various places, especially since my area is cognitive psychology, but it is not neuroscience at all.
Yeah.
I am not a fan. And a lot of departments seem to be moving into a lot more cognitive neuroscience, and it seems, and once again, I'm not an expert, and I have not literally seen every university's faculty, but it seems like they're kind of letting normal cognitive psychology go away. So theoretically speaking, I might need to have a bit more diverse of a content area in order to be a little bit more desirable. But that's fine, because what I'm doing now already has some social psychology implications. So.
Oh wow, that seems pretty cool. I mean, it's just I love learning stuff like that, where especially different field of work and just understanding what you're doing. So how much longer do you have till you graduate?
I plan it with 2021, 2 more years. So I think I have a graduation date of 2023.
Okay.
Generally speaking, 4 or 5 years is the norm, but I have peers who are on their 5th year and may not necessarily graduate this year. So the department, at least the one I'm at, and I'm sure this is true in many other places that actually give a crap about their students, they really want to make sure that you're meeting your goals and whatnot. But it's not like you need to do this or kicking you out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're investing in you because we believe in you. We believe that you'll be able to go on to do great things. So we want you to succeed. So even if it takes a little bit more time than normal, they're very friendly about that. And one of the reasons I chose this.
So when you get done and you're trying to apply for a university, what universities do you try to go for? What do you look for in them? We'll start it from there. Like, what do you look for?
So, generally speaking, you kind of have to look for the solicitations that are coming out, because if a university is not hiring, it doesn't actually matter.
Okay.
Also, there's another option, and that's doing some postdoctoral work. So once you have your doctorate, you can apply to essentially be a mentee. I don't know what it's called. Trainee, I guess. I don't remember. But you can essentially get a mentor, and you're
almost sort of like a fellowship if you're an MD, sort of, or.
That sounds correct. But yeah, like you apply somewhere. You're not a student. You're still like working on your research and stuff, but you're not like a professor yet.
Yeah.
Essentially. So that's an option. I have no idea if I'm going to take that option because I'm still a few years away. But generally speaking, you look for solicitations, and there's a ton of websites that literally just like host like all of the university job openings, and you can sort by a few different things. But I personally would be looking for any postings that would be essentially cognitive psychology, and if they are specifically looking for someone in memory, that'd be the best. I basically don't care where it is in the country. Like I'm originally from Michigan. I've spent most of my life in Virginia, and I'm now so from the north to the south. Now I'm in the deep south. I'm in Mississippi.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh,
it's fine. Like it's fine.
Wait, no, that you're not affected by the hurricane right now, right? No, because that's Louisiana right now. Yeah. No.
We'll have potentially like high winds and a few storms, but we're not expecting to get any flooding.
Oh, that's good at least. God, that's going to hit as a Cat 4. That's crazy.
My issue is that it's hot here. It's too damn hot. I'm a person who really likes scarves.
Yeah.
And gosh, I have not worn a scarf in forever.
I mean, I know what you mean. I'm in Florida, so I know how hot it can get. So
hot and humid, yep.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I would be looking for that, and then often you'll get you'll have to like. The job hunt is very very complicated, but generally speaking, I'd be looking.
It sounds
for
like
someone
it, yeah.
That's looking for cognitive psychology.
Interesting.
And then there's a whole process there.
Interesting. So, I mean, what really got you interested in psychology? I mean, I know you mentioned before you wanted to figure out some questions you had and all that, but was there something else that really got you down this path? Like one to...
Sure. So originally, I was planning on going into law because I love to argue with people, and I'm frankly pretty good at it. All of my life since probably like middle school. Everyone in my family and some teachers even were like, "You should be a lawyer," because I'm really good and I love to argue. So that was the plan. And then when going into college, going into undergrad, I had some options of what I wanted to choose as a major. I considered history. I considered poli-sci, but like, you know, I didn't. Those were definitely would have been the second ones. Like, it's fine. But I was like, I don't need to do it. So I figure if I'm going to become a lawyer, I don't know exactly what lawyer I want to be, but I figured getting an insight into the human psyche would be a nice way to go. Would give me a bit of an edge if I wanted to become like a prosecuting lawyer or something, prosecuting attorney. So that's the route I went. And luckily, because I went into undergrad with a ton of credits from high school because I'm a huge nerd, I was able to take essentially nothing but psychology classes. And one of my classes was cognitive psychology, and it was taught by the fantastic Chris Wall. And it was just an absolute blast. And I was like, maybe I don't want to be a lawyer. It was awesome. And like, it was, the way he taught was very engaging. The subject matter, I just absolutely loved, utterly adored the different aspects of cognitive psychology. And I was just like, well, I might just choose to do this. And so I did.
Well, hey, that sounds good. I mean, do you think you could ever go back to law or anything, or this is it? You're psychologist.
Theoretically I could. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm the type of nerd who can essentially learn like anything. But I am very good at like learning new information. I don't necessarily have a wealth of knowledge at the moment, but I'm just really good at understanding and picking things up. So theoretically I could, but one of the other reasons that I didn't go into law school is because the way that it's graded essentially is you're graded against your classmates. Now, an analogy I like to use is playing poker versus playing blackjack, right? I'll play blackjack all day long because all I have to do is beat the house. And I'm the type of learner I am, without throwing myself under the bus too much. I can beat the house always. I'm good at beating the house.
Yeah. As
soon as you put me against the other players, it's not going to work because other players might care a little bit more about maximizing their wins. They might be a little bit more invested in maintaining a perfect score, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So as soon as I learned that that's the way that a lot of law schools operate, I was like, it's not for me. Like, I don't want to be in a situation where like I pass by my own standards, but I fail because everyone else passes a lot better. Because I tend not to care how other people are doing. In D&D terms, for example, I would say I'm a lawful evil person. But a lot of people say evil is like bad. But no, it's like I don't care if other people are doing better than me. I just care that I'm doing as best as I can. And I don't care about putting other people down. So I like to add a little alignment extra to D&D, and that is constructive and destructive. So like a lawful evil destructive character would be someone who goes by a code of laws in order to make the world a better place for them. But the way they do it is by destructing other people, like they're hurting others. But I'm a lawful evil person, whereas like I follow rules and things like that. I have a code. I'm selfish, that's like the evil part. But the way I do it is not by caring about anyone else. It's just like I'm going to use the tricks of the trade to focus on myself and elevate myself as high as I can. So in pretty much every other situation, I'm totally fine just like doing what I consider my best or being satisfied with my work. But if I'm being pit against other people who are really trying to like knock it out of the park, I'm over here just like hitting ground rule doubles. I'm not over here trying to hit homers every swing, right? So I was like, it's another reason it's not for me. So I'm unlikely to go back for that. If anything, honestly, I would probably go to school for like don't know. For like art, I like drawing, but I'm trash. I haven't drawn in forever, but
Yeah.
things like that, like.
No, I know what you mean. I've got my degree in art, graphic design, and all that, but you asked me to draw something now, I can't. I used to have the talent for it, but nope, not anymore. So one question I have, so you saying all that, about yourself, how do you feel like that sort of reflects how you do with content creation?
So it's very similar. In general, I don't really care how other content creators are doing in terms of like making comparisons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll we'll use a great example in my opinion. Shout out to MTG Jeff, or as my community likes to call it, Jeff. We started out at similar-ish times, and during my 10,000 special, I think I shouted out a bunch of channels, and his was one, and he has quickly overtaken me. But it's like this goes back to like the whole lawful evil construction thing. It's like it doesn't help me to be like upset about that or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't help me to try and like talk crap about him or anything like that. Like he still makes good content. He's a really affable guy. And so like I kind of just like don't really necessarily care about how well other people are doing. And instead I'm just like, I just want to make the content that I enjoy making. I didn't expect I would ever pass 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
I was once the NDA lifted for Arena, I was like, I'm playing this game every day. I might as well record it. And I was like in Philly, just in a garbage apartment, and I was playing on my garbage laptop that is just slowly dying every day. And like the audio quality wasn't great, the video quality wasn't great. I was like, I'm playing this game literally every day. I might as well just like download OBS and upload it. And I was worried. I made videos in college. And I think technically you can still see a couple of those on my channel. I don't know if I privated all of them, but if it's not privated, I don't mind. But I tried to edit those videos, and I ended up stopping because I hate editing. I just can't be bothered with it.
Know what you mean.
But a content creator, Northern Lion, I love his stuff, and he just like doesn't edit either. Like he starts to use the OBS pause button, which I'm actually doing now as well. But
OBS has a pause button?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I'll pause from time to time now.
Oh, shit.
It's great. That's actually how I recorded the video for my second channel talking about the cosmetics, because otherwise I would have to like edit to show the things I'm talking about.
Yeah, stop recording, then start. Yeah.
I just pause, and it's great. But
shit!
Like,
I'm gonna have to find that.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the reason I stopped making content in college. Is like I just couldn't be bothered with editing. So I was like, well, one of my favorite content creators, Northern Lion, doesn't edit, and people still love his stuff. No, I still love his stuff, and some content creators also didn't like cherry pick games. But a lot of them was like, I'm going to pick the most interesting games, and often those are the games where the person wins. And I'm not bashing that at all. I think that is absolutely reasonable, especially considering I have gotten comments of like, you suck, or like this deck is awful, because I'm showing what the deck actually is.
Yeah.
I'm showing how the deck is going to work.
Yeah, and no deck's perfect.
Yeah, and so like I really like showing like, hey, if this deck is bad, obviously I could be making horrible misplays, but you get to see what those misplays are and you can decide for yourself. But like, if this deck is bad, I don't want to show you the 3 games I won out of the 20 games or whatever that I've played. I'm going to show you these are the middle 4 games that I play in a row. Like no stopping. This is exactly what. And that's the type of content I'm interested in seeing, because I want to know when the deck is losing. So I kind of just decided like, hey, I'm just gonna make the content that I would watch. And if people like it, cool. If they don't, bite me.
Well, hey. Oh, so what kind of advice would you give to, newer content creators out there? Because, I mean, let's be honest, with the advent of Arena out there, there's so many new Magic content. I don't know who the heck who is anymore. Like, you say MTG Jeff, I don't know who that is, to be honest. And I'll be honest, I don't follow a lot of arena content creators. I love playing Magic Arena, but to go on stream and watch it, even though, I do stream Magic Arena once in a great while, but I stream paper Magic more than anything. I don't know who a lot of these arena content creators are. And, you say that, he passed you with 10,000 subs. I'm like, I don't know who it is. And I'm not trying to say that as a slight or anything. It's just, there's so many people out there. And I've found random arena YouTube channels that have like 50, 60,000 subs. I'm like, who the hell are these people? I've never heard of them before. Like, and they're having how many subs? Like, what would you say to new people out there? I mean, it feels more flooded than ever because just a little story. So when I started this podcast back in 2016, I mean, there was already quite a few podcasts, and I've seen them all come and go, and as far as streaming goes, there was a very small amount of people streaming Magic Online back then, and now it's gotten to a point where it's flooded. People are coming up with podcast streams all the time, and I sort of love trying to find newer content creators, but then I feel like more than ever nowadays, you got to be more careful of who you like try to pick out and give shout outs to, and when it's just generic streamer number 52 just doing Magic Arena, what do you say to people like that? Like, like how do you get them to, I don't know, be better or make something more interesting when it seems like everybody's doing the same thing?
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is really decide if you want to primarily stream or primarily make videos. And each of those comes with positives and negatives. I mainly don't stream, and I also mainly don't watch. For what it's worth, I don't watch streams because I don't watch streams live because I watch everything at 2x speed because, as you can probably tell by the speed that I speak at, I can't. It's too slow. So I usually don't watch things live. But one of the main reasons I don't stream is because streaming really benefits single long sessions. Whereas if you're recording, you can record a ton of videos at a time and then just like post them whenever you feel like it. But you can also just record daily, and that's what I do. Like I record at essentially a certain time every night, and I upload them. I schedule them to be uploaded the next day at noon. Right. This is like an hour-ish commitment daily. Whereas if I wanted to stream, I would have to stream for at least 3 hours to make sure I'm getting like the amount of viewers the maximum amount of viewers that I can, because people are going to take a while to see your stream, even if they follow you, and then there's like the discoverability, like it's going to take a while for someone to decide to scroll down and find you, so you have to be on for at least 3 hours, I would say, and 5, like if you're trying to be a streamer, I would suggest at least 5 hours every stream. And that's just a ton of commitment at a single time. And for a lot of people, they're not going to have that. Like you can have a job, even a full-time job, and still have 30 minutes or so every night to record a couple of games and upload them. But it's a lot harder to say I'm gonna stream. I'm gonna set aside like my entire Saturday when I'm working 9 to 5 every Monday to Friday. Like I'm setting my entire Saturday aside to essentially work more. Especially during those early days, you're not gonna really see what you're looking for.
You're not gonna have those regular viewers or anything.
The next piece of advice I would say is, do not expect to succeed at all. And I tell this not only to Magic content creators, but anyone who's looking to create content. You need to be making content because you want to make content, and like to make content. Like it seems like the same thing, but like you have to want to make content, and then you have to like the content that you're making, right? If you don't have both of those, you're not going to succeed, because people are going to tell, right? If you're someone who just like is in it for the money, which for what I'm going to tell you, it ain't there.
No. And it's so volatile once you do, quote unquote, get there too.
I'll say the first check I got from AdSense was around $1,000. This was like really soon after I got AdSense, whatever. I was able to get paid off
which
of,
kids 1,000 may seem like a lot. It's really not. It's not at all.
It has.
That's awesome though that you got paid. You know, like
That was the first one.
Yeah,
I have
but
not broken like 300, and I've been well below 300, but I've not broken 300 since then.
Yeah, I just recently got my first Twitch paycheck. What was it, a month ago? And I mean, it was only $100, but and that was cool. But it, that's not gonna do anything for you in the long run.
Yeah, if anything, it might subsidize the time that you spend in it, and that's why I say it's so important that you want to do it and that you like what you're doing, because you might not succeed, and even if you do, it might not be for a long time. For what it's worth, I'm relatively new. I started back up. Oh gosh, I guess I'm not new anymore. Was it? It wasn't 2016. I don't remember what. No, 2017, something like that. I don't know. I have no idea. My sense of time is garbage. But I've been around for a while, and I've seen major growth, and then I've seen huge stagnation. Like I've been sitting at around like between 12,000 and 14,000 for a long time. 1,400? 1,000? No, 1,000. For a long time. Like I got to 10,000 very quickly. Like I was surprised at how quick.
Yeah.
And I've been there for like the rest of the time. So it's very sporadic, and it's not always going to be rewarding. And fun fact, people will be mean to you.
Yeah,
They will be brutal.
Not just mean, but you'll get some motherfucking weirdos too. Holy shit! I've had some crazy little stalkers before. So
interesting.
It's
Luckily, I haven't had too many like issues. I have had to ban like 2 people from my channel, like block them entirely. One was a horrible racist, and the other one I think was just weird. Like they're saying like really just weird things constantly. You'll get like weird spam bots and things like that.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work for no reward, or at least a little reward. If your reward isn't, I want to do this and I like what I watch, you should for at least the first like month or so. And for what it's worth, you also need to be regular. For the first month or so, you should watch every video you make.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's at like a fast speed, you should watch it. Because if you're bored, or if you don't like it, or if the sound quality is bad to you, or the audio the video quality is bad to you, everyone else is going to see that worse, because you get the benefit of seeing it through your own eyes, which is inherently biased. We have inherent bias to make sure that what we like is or what we do is liked more by us. So if you're watching your own stuff and saying, "Ooh, this is not great," people are going to watch it and say, "This is garbage." So you need to, for the first bit, watch what you're doing and then say, "Okay, how can I change?" The next thing is be regular. It doesn't have to be every day.
Have a set schedule and all that,
But just have like a set schedule. And one of the reasons for this is that it means that the people who find you are going to consistently see you at certain points, right?
Mm-hmm.
YouTube does like YouTube, and I think Twitch as well, really does like having things be set as a schedule. On Twitch, like you can have a little countdown of like, I'll be on at this point. If people are seeing that and they're like, maybe I'll check this person out when they're live, you need to be on at that point.
Yeah.
On YouTube, like YouTube will recommend your video if it comes up at the same time. So like if you upload every Friday at 2 p.m. your time, it means that people who are watching Magic content at that moment, they'll have that recommendation, and then the next week they should have that recommendation as well, because you're being consistent, and YouTube sees that. The algorithm sees that. The almighty God of content creators. So that's one thing, and then it also helps because it allows you to maintain that schedule. Like if hey, I'm going to have a video out every Friday at 2. You can plan the rest of your day accordingly, right? Like, let's say you have half days on Wednesdays, right? You can say, okay, that's the day I'm going to record. I can set the video to go up on Friday, but that's the day I'm going to pick out to record. If someone asks me, like, hey, can you do this thing on Wednesday? You can just be like, no, I have a thing, because you should treat it seriously. Like, if you really do want to be a content creator, you have to treat the creation of your content seriously. The next thing is.
Well, how seriously do you think people should treat it? Because there are some people that I've seen just go full ham. Like they try to treat this like a job, a business and all that right away. When they're brand new and they're not getting anywhere, then they get frustrated right away.
Yeah. So what I mean by seriously is essentially like this, it went from normal hobby to output. It's not a job. It won't be a job until you can comfortably live on just the fluctuating money of whatever service you're using. And I'm putting emphasis on that very reasonable or very purposeful. The money fluctuates, and you have to make sure that you live not only like you're not just getting by, you're living comfortably with just that money. And obviously it's difficult because you have to think in your mind if you still at a normal job. You have to make sure like, okay, this is how much I made from this this month. This is how much my bills were. This is how much like my total expenditure was.
Yeah.
So until you get close to that point, you don't even have to worry about it because it's not a job yet. It's just something that you're doing. This is some output. And if you want to get to that point, you have to be serious enough to say, I need to stick to this. I need to stick to a schedule. But that doesn't mean like go out and buy a fancy microphone, or like a new rig or anything. OBS is free. OBS is great software in my opinion.
That's what I've been using since the beginning. Yeah. OBS and Audacity. And I've had this podcast for 4 years. So yeah.
Yeah. You don't need to get the best anything. You don't need a camera. One of the biggest arena content creators is LVD, and he does not have a camera. He does not use a webcam at all, and he's still very much well liked.
There's Adam and MTG. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's another arena content creator that has no webcam at all.
Yeah. Like you don't need that. I will say, audio is relatively important. You don't have to like splurge. Like I don't know how much this mic costs. You do not need this.
No, you can get heck no. My first mic that I got before I got the Yeti was like a $40-$50 mic, and it had the windscreen on it, and then I got a pop filter. Less than $100 there, and there are a lot of tricks to do in Audacity to make it sound better, to make it sound professional. All you got to do is just Google. It takes like maybe 1 to 2 hours of learning like how to do EQing and compressing and all that stuff, and watching tutorials.
And if and for the first like month or so, like if you're not certain that you can stick to your schedule, don't even worry about getting a mic. Like it'll sound grainy for the first bit, but that's okay, because what you're doing for those first bits is you're trying to make sure that you can maintain a schedule, that you understand like how you're going to speak and whatnot. And then like as long as your audio isn't just like grainy or garbage, then you should be fine. Like as long as you're freaking like audible, you should be fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to treat it seriously, but you don't want to jump into it expecting that you're going to make money back or anything like that. You want to really like the only things that you're going to need, and you can use like for thumbnails and stuff. There's a bunch of tutorials on that, but you legit can just take you can go into like Paint, and then you can take an image from sites like the site I use is mtgzuby, and you can just download the file there, put it into Paint or whatever the new Paint thing is, and then just like put text on it. It's just like Scarab God or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not you don't have to make like.
No, it's not hard at all. Yeah.
Because as long as your content is good enough, you'll have some viewers. And when I say some viewers, you'll have a couple of people watching. There are some people who are just like bored and they have nothing to do. That not to be mean to any of the viewers of my channel.
No, but I know what you mean.
Some people want to have that in their downtime. The next thing that I would say as advice is be yourself. I'm a little bit played up, and I was able to develop a little bit more of that as time went on. But if you go back to my earliest videos of the closed beta, like when I was first making them, it's very much like. So I think here I'm just gonna do this.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, go back and listen to my first few episodes of my podcast. It's like, oh, thank you for listening to. I know exactly what you mean.
So you should be a little bit more of more productive of a self.
Be a little on. You know.
You can be a bit more animated, but you still need to like be who you are. Like, for example, when I open my videos, I'll say, "What's up, Planeswalker?" But I'm not like, "What's up, dudes? It's your boy ThyrixSyx back."
Smash that like button, bros.
unless that's like your actual personality, don't do that, because not only will people tell that it's not your personality, it will wear on you. If it's not natural, it's going to be hard for you to do. Right? I can make the content the way I do now because it's just me cranked up a bit, right? When I get like tilted or whatever, I'll play it out. I'll just I'll be a bit more animated and stuff, but I'm not like going overboard. It's just how I actually feel. But instead of just being like, that sucks. I'll be like, come on, that sucks. Oh, that sucks. Just add a little bit more in there, but still be who you are. I will say, and this is unfortunate. If you don't have a reasonable voice, people just might not like it. Unfortunately, that's the fact of the matter. Theoretically, I have seen some channels that have literally no voiceover or no mic. I don't suggest it because then it's very hard. Like, you're not going to have a community because people are just like looking at the gameplay and they're not seeing or hearing the you, and you really do want people to stick around for the you. But if unfortunately, and of course this is an issue for people with thick accents, but sometimes your voice just isn't out for it, and people will just not listen because of that. There are
it's
some
unfortunate.
There are some people who have really nice voices, and there are some people who unfortunately don't. I have been blessed with the voice, but it's sometimes it's bad. But you shouldn't. If you have a voice that you think is a little abnormal, or you have like a thick, you got a thick accent. I have no idea what I was trying to do there, but you have a thick accent,
like an Irish, Scottish, or something.
If you had the chance to change your fate, would you? But no, if you have like an accent or whatever, don't just immediately say, "I'm not going to be able to do this." You can start off in that first period before you get a mic or whatever, and you just find who you are, do this for a couple months, and see if some people are around. And if they're even if there's a single person who watches like all of your videos and they leave a comment on all of your videos, and it's just like that one person who's leaving a like, that often is enough. As long as you still like what you're doing, and it's not an issue for you to keep going, you can keep going for that one person. You can chat with that one person, and sometimes that person will share it with their friends. YouTube will randomly suggest you, and you can get stuff like that. So
no, I like you mentioned that because it's true. A lot of times, newer content creators, especially when they're making stuff like, oh, why am I not getting the views? It feels like, you're screaming out into the void. It's true. It's like, you look at my YouTube channel, I've got nothing. I really don't care about my YouTube channel because my focus is mainly on audio downloads. Like, you look at my audio downloads, they are really relatively decent for my size, right? Anywhere from between 1,000 to 2,000 downloads per episode, which is pretty decent. So, but you look at my YouTube, it's like 5 to 10 views, but I've got a few dedicated listeners that would rather watch my YouTube than listen to my audio. So I'm like, that's why I'm doing it, for them. Yeah. I don't care otherwise. But you make a good point there. Like, if there's one person listening to it and, they give you good feedback, it's worth it. It makes you feel so good that it brings joy to people out there.
Yeah. And that leads really nicely into my last piece of advice, which is understand what is feedback and what is the internet. So especially early on, you might get people saying your audio sucks, or they could say that in much worse ways. But I'll stick to that. And what you have to be able to do, and hopefully you'll get better with this as time goes on, but you'll have to be able to separate the advice in that statement and the way it was said on the internet, right? So it's possible that this is during your period before you end up deciding to get a new microphone or whatever. Once again, relatively inexpensive microphone, and modifying your audio quality. But you'll have to understand, like, if it's coming during that time, just be like, okay, look, I understand. That's fine. I plan on waiting a little bit, and I'll up my audio in a bit. If it comes after that, respect that. They might be hearing something different than you might. So you might want to like send it to a friend or something and say like, hey, can you listen to this? Does this sound fine? Because sometimes it's possible that there's a hiss that you're not hearing, or audio is crackly on a certain volume that you might not be used to. For example, I don't like playing other than music. I don't like having volume very loud, despite the fact that I like yell speak. So if you're a similar type person, you might not hear graininess or anything in an audio below a certain threshold until you get to the threshold, and then people are like, why does this sound like he's going into the microphone, right? So that's one type of thing. And then there's going to be things that are outside of your control, right? Like you could say like, why you might get just like, why are you playing this garbage deck? You suck. I don't suggest trying to be like a variety deck player for the first bit. My first videos were, I had like the same, I had 3 days where I played the same deck. So I'd play zombies, I'd play Bolus, and there was one other deck I think I played consistently. But I was able to use those as like my mainstays so that I didn't have to spend a bunch of money on the front end. And then I had a couple other days where I would make other deck videos, but even then, like, I didn't worry about making sure they were perfect, because if nothing else, I could just be like, hey, this is the type of thing. And if you're making one or videos that aren't daily, it's even easier to do, right? Because making, you have one staple deck and then you play variety every other time, but even if it's not a huge variety, like let's say instead of doing it on Fridays at 2, you upload at Tuesday and Thursday at 2, right?
Yeah.
Every Tuesday, it's the same deck. You're playing the same deck. And then every Thursday, you could either have a rotation of other decks that you might play, or, you try to build a new deck, or you could even stick it to Pauper, right? You could just have a new Pauper deck. Even if you have to do games with your friends in order to record, that's still fine. Like there's potentially going to be an audience for that. And sometimes people are going to be like, why are you playing this garbage? And you have to recognize, that's what I'm playing. Like there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
That's how it is. And then sometimes, and hopefully this isn't too often, people are just going to be mean. It happens. People will call you names. People will just denigrate your gameplay, or just like tell you to quit, give up, tell you that you're too small or whatever. Essentially, laugh at those people. And the reason I say laugh at those people is because if you're doing this for you, you shouldn't care about your numbers. Or at least let me rephrase that. It shouldn't hurt you to have whatever numbers you have. Your main focus, your main desire for your video should be, I enjoyed making this, and I enjoy what it is, right? If you're still in the period where you should be watching all your videos, you're saying, I'm actively enjoying watching this. Or if you're past that, saying, I am proud of what I put out there. That is the number one that you should do. And then anything else, gravy. Or if you don't like gravy, frosting. If you don't like frosting, I'd put Vegemite on it. I don't know. But that should be the main thing. And you have to try and or not let those people get you down, saying that you're worse than others and whatnot. And then
and even when you do have negative comments like that, they watched your video. They gave you that click.
That's the best thing. Because a dislike, I believe this is still the case, a dislike on a YouTube video is worth the same amount of engagement as a like.
Yeah.
A comment on a video, even if it's a mean comment, is still the engagement. And what you really want to see for YouTube algorithm is engagement. That's like all the algorithm cares about. Like, people were engaged with this video. So if they comment, one thing that I like doing is that if I have a comment that's just negative, luckily I haven't had many recently. I'll just say, like, thanks for the YouTube engagement. Now they're gonna send me to more people. I love it. Also, like, if someone comments on your video, YouTube is gonna show them your video. That's how it works. YouTube shows you what you engage with. So if someone comments on your video, they're just going to see. They're just going to
see it more. Oh, that's funny.
You might have hate watchers. Like, there are some people who just like to watch things that they hate and then
immediately dislike it. Yeah, leave bad comments.
The thing is, that's still engagement.
It still helps you.
Will drive you to other people who might like it. So you can kind of just like laugh, and that's why I'm saying that. You can laugh at those people and be like, ha ha ha, you're playing into my hand.
Yeah.
And then of course, you should absolutely have a list of words that are just blocked. YouTube has a system for that. I have words that are just blocked. There are some words that are like marginal, but generally speaking, I'm okay. I'm okay with the marginal words just because I don't want to be too harsh. But those marginal words, for what it's worth, those marginal words can be used fine. You know what the marginal words aren't. You also know what the marginal words aren't for you. So, for example, I like the Australian C word. I have no idea if it's okay to say on here, so I'm not gonna.
No.
Yeah, see, that's I use that word a lot, and I'm fine with it. And most of the people I think everyone in my community is fine with it. But for some people, they're not gonna be fine with it. And if you're not fine with certain words, even if they seem mundane to other people, who cares? It's your channel. You're allowed to be like, all right, this spaz, I think, is one. That a lot of British people, a lot of English people really don't like, because it is essentially only used to talk about individuals with specific types of mental impairments. Here it's a little less so. It still has that connection, but it's definitely one of those like line words. It depends on how it's being used. Often here, especially now, it's more just like someone who is overly high energy and a bit erratic in their behavior. So for many people, it's not a big issue, but for some, it could be. And if you think that word is something you don't want to see, put it on the list. And you should feel no issue with having a word on a list that you're uncomfortable with or whatever like that. Because at the end of the day, no one wants to be called something that makes them feel bad.
Yeah.
No,
that's some good advice there.
One more.
A lot of it's luck based too.
We
we briefly mentioned that. It's so much luck as well too. But I think that is going to be about doing it. It is getting a little late, and I know we had a little bit of a cutoff time for you. So no, I just want to respect your time and all that. Yeah. So where can people find you should they want to find your content, reach out to you, and all that?
So I'm a terribly dumb person who has one of the hardest names to say and type in things, but you can find me at YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter .com/ThyrixSyx, ThyrixSyx.
And I will make sure to have links to that in the show notes below, everybody, too, okay?
If you like pictures of flowers, you should check out my Instagram, which is, I think it's Justin Thibault 8. Legit, other than like one picture of poutine, it's just flowers. It's just botanical stuff. I like how flowers look. I'm like goth on the inside, but I still love flowers. So if you're interested in flowers, check that out too.
Hey, you're into what you're into, and that's okay. All right, so I want to thank you again for coming on. I had a really good chat. Really enjoyed the psychologist stuff because it's no, I'm being serious, because I don't know about any of that stuff, right? It's like I could sit here talk to you about networking, you'd have no idea what I'm talking about too, and but I enjoy learning about what other people do and go through and all that. So it may not be the most exciting content for listeners, but hey, I enjoyed it. So you know what? That's like we were talking about before. I enjoyed this conversation, and I'm going to be happy about putting this out to people. So there'll be people out there that likes it as well. So.
No, I really enjoyed being on. Thank you so much for having an outlet where I could yell about magic.
Oh, hey, it's anytime, man. Anytime. If you want to come back on, I'd love to have you talk more. I really enjoyed the talk about the cosmetics. I never really thought about it in that aspect of more cosmetics and trying to subsidize that for making it easier to get cards. It makes a lot of sense. I never really thought of it like that, and I'd be 100% down for that. I'd be spending way more money in Arena than I am currently for that. But thank you again. Hope you have a good night, and I will talk to you soon.
Alrighty, thanks for having me, and au revoir.
All right, have a good night. Hey everybody, hope you all really enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. I really, really, really wish I had more time to talk to Justin. I felt it was such a good conversation. He was really awesome to talk to, and I could have kept going. There was more and more stuff I wanted to say and talk about and discuss, but alas, there's not enough time in the world, and I do honestly want to try to get him on again and just continue that conversation down the road and just keep going. So I hope you all really enjoyed the episode. Be sure to check out Justin's content, give him a follow, check out his YouTube, check out his Twitter and all that. Check out his Instagram with flowers and stuff if you really like flowers. So thank you again, Justin, for coming on. Really appreciate it, and hope you all have a great night. Thank you.